Yo, what's up? This your boy Derek Branchell, SportsView360.com, covering the New Orleans Saints. And today I just want to talk about the latest news concerning the New Orleans Saints as they attempt to find a new head coach that can usher in a new era of Saints football going forward. And I want to also discuss, full major areas that the new head coach, regardless of it is going to be, need to address ASAP when they become the new head coach of New Orleans Saints. But I'm just gonna just give a quick rundown on the current, landscape of the team in regards to looking for a new head coach. As of now, according to this article written by John Hendricks of Saints News Network, the Sports Illustrated vertical that covers the New Orleans Saints for the content. And so far, the Saints have conducted virtual interviews with Aaron Glenn. They've done an interview with Mike Kafka. Um, they've also interviewed. They also have interviews line. They also interviewed Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, who's also has some lineage, some ties to the Baltimore Ravens, and also has been a kind of been elevated, listed as an intriguing candidate for this team. They also have some information about the Saints requesting to interview Kellen Moore. Cliff Kingsbury was confirmed on Thursday. Joe Brady is going to be doing an interview. Darren Reese is going to have an interview this upcoming week with the Saints. He recently did an interview with the New York Jets. That was today, I believe. You can also scratch out. I know this article talks about Mike Vrabel having an interview scheduled with the team, but according to the reports that were put out today from the insiders, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, is that Mike Vrabel was the new head will be the new head coach of New England Patriots. So you pretty much scratch Mike Vrabel off the list. So there you have it right there. Now, I mean, to me, that's really not a whole lot that's going to go on between now and this upcoming week. Like I've said in the previous video, I think you're going to get the new head coach of New Orleans Saints probably going to get announced probably by the end, at least the end of the month, or probably by the Super Bowl. I don't think the new head coach is going to be. They're not going to have a new head coach by the end of the week. I really don't think that. Nick Underhill also put out that I think Aaron Glenn is going to have a second interview with the team that he's going to do in person. So a lot could happen between now and then. But Mike Vrabel to me was never going to be in the cards, especially after what went down in New England, where they immediately fired um, Jared Mayo as their head coach, and you saw how quickly they announced uh, Mike Vrabel to become the new head coach. So there's that with that situation. But as I said before, um, having ties to Sean Payton don't really bother me. I don't care less. I'm more concerned about if he is the right person for the job. I'm not letting Dennis Allen's failures, who is also tied to Sean Payton, in the past. I'm not gonna let his failures, kind of cloud my opinion of what the Saints should be looking for in a head coach or where he comes from. I don't care. Don't really matter where he came from. I'm just worried about is he the right guy that's gonna find the right players to lead this team. Now, moving right along, I want to talk about four major areas that the new head coach, regardless of whoever they may hire of the New Orleans Saints, must address as soon as they get the job. Number one, I'm gonna just talk about the culture. The Saints, the new head coach has to be able to rebuild the culture. The new Saints coach has to have the ability to be a culture builder because, in my opinion, And I know I'm not in the locker room or anything like that. I'm only looking from the outside looking in. But the Saints have lost their way. And let's be honest, the Saints have lost their way as a culture because um, for whatever reason, under Dennis Allen, he may be a good guy and all that, but things just look like it just got lax under his watch as head coach. The whole entire team, things just got laid back. You can see it even in the games where players would go out there and make mistakes, fumble, miss tackles, and the Dennis Allen, you will never see Dennis Allen chew out a player. You never see Dennis Allen chastise nobody. You know what I'm saying? In matter of fact, and even in the interviews when they did the post game pressers, Dennis Allen it looked like Dennis Allen had a hard time criticizing players, calling players out, congratulating them, complimenting players. Like he just never really was comfortable doing it, regardless if it was a good compliment or or a bad critique of a player. He was just unsure of doing it compared to what we saw in Sean Payton, where Sean Payton, he didn't say the player's name, but he let it be known what was the issues. You know what I'm saying? But that's one thing they gotta fix, man. The culture. Rebuild the culture of this football team immediately because they've completely, lost a step along the way since I would say since 2021, ever since Dennis Allen took the job. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Number one, rebuild the culture. Number two, this coach has to come in and have the ability to rebuild his roster from the ground up. Um, to me, in my opinion, the way I see it, the Saints need an influx of young players, a lot of young players. It's going to take at least drafts to get this team, get this roster um, loaded with younger talent. They just don't need younger talent. You need younger and better talent than what you have right now because the Saints can no longer rely on um, late round draft picks, undrafted players that you got in the UFL rosters from UFL rosters, the CFL. You can't rely on that no more to play in roles, and that's what caused the Saints over the last couple of years. They put people, they put players in situations that they had no situation being in, had no business being in. And then you got the fact that Dennis Allen don't know how to me, Dennis Allen don't know how to get the best out of these type of players compared to what we saw in Sean Payton. Because Sean Payton, for whatever, well, I don't know how he did it, but he saw the best attribute out of that player and got it out of him and got that player to produce at a high level in that role that he may put that player in, regardless if it was special teams, defense, offensive lineman. That was never Sean Payton's issue. So the Saints need number two. The Saints need to rebuild it. The new head coach of New Orleans Saints need to rebuild his roster the right way. And I'm not opposed to Sean Payton. I'm not opposed to the Saints moving out of that draft pick trade. I'm not opposed to the Saints trading down out of the nice spot and acquiring more picks because, like I said, this team needs more more talent. And if you can trade out of that nice spot, acquire more picks, you can do that. This team needs an influx of talent immediately. You know what I'm saying? So number two, this head coach needs to have the ability to rebuild a roster. Like I said, it don't matter if he came from Sean Payton's coaching tie, have coaching ties to Sean Payton, or coming from the outside. If this coach doesn't know how to find the right players to build his roster, to rebuild his roster, they will not have success. It's just that simple, you know. Up next, number 3, I'm gonna go with preparation. Preparation. Not talking about in the areas I talk about in preparation. I'm talking about this team coming to play. You know what I'm saying? Practicing. You know, from what I've heard is that this team, the Saints, have you know, solid practices. They don't practice hard as they did under the previous 2 regimes a few years ago. That has, you know, that may be an issue that may have caused this team to not produce the way they should on the field. Practicing, how you deal with the injuries, all that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe, you know, something's just not clicking with this team, man. From training camp, from mini camp to training camp, to preseason to the actual season beginning. There's no way this team should be dealing with should have been dealing with injuries for multiple seasons. Ever since Dennis Allen, now I know the Saints dealt with injuries under Sean Payton as head coach, but this is like this Dennis Allen's regime took it to a whole different level in regards to dealing with injuries. You know, ever since he took over as head coach, the Saints have had a heavy influx of injuries, especially to key personnel. So hopefully the new head coach can come in and just develop a program that can, you know, better prepare this team for the upcoming season and have the depth to deal with injuries to key personnel, because that's what pretty much, you know, got Dennis Allen fired. These injuries. Having these injuries and not having sufficient depth to come in and take up for that the voids left behind from the key players. That's pretty much fired Dennis Allen. You know, you see in Detroit what they're doing. You know, they've had injuries left and right on both sides of the football, but since they've drafted so well and have quality depth, they continue to win football games. You know what I'm saying? So number 3, better preparation. New head coach needs to be better at preparation. Plain and simple. Number 4, last on the list, I'm gonna go with the new head coach needs to know how to get this team to finish our games from start to finish. You know, one of the most annoying things that I did not like about Dennis Allen's tenure with his team, with New Orleans Saints as a head coach, was that, you know, this team, it would take the team 3 full quarters to get locked in. 3 full quarters to get locked in and play good football. And you would see this against, you know, teams that they should beat. You know what I'm saying? They would have issues with teams that they should beat. Like last year when they played the Chicago Bears. It took the Saints until halftime, come out in the third quarter to beat that team. And the Bears at the time was starting a rookie quarterback. And the Saints defense had that guy looking like Randall Cunningham out there. You know? So that's a major area to look at, man. The ability to close out a game, the ability to have the ability to play all 4 quarters and win a football game. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna win all the games, but you should be able to win most of your games, because, you know, it wasn't too long ago that the Saints knew how to prepare for big games. You know, you come in the Superdome and it would be a big game for the Saints, and you know you had like a I would say a 90 to 95%, you know, chance that they was gonna win that game. You know what I'm saying? Because they prepared so well for it. They closed out when they needed to. the team came up with clutch plays. You know what I'm saying? So those are the 4 areas I think the new head coach needs to be able to fix once he becomes the new head coach. Rebuild the culture, rebuild the roster, better preparation, and ability to close out to play an entire play a game for all 4 quarters. Those are the 4 areas, man, because it hasn't been nice. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been good for this team since Dennis Allen took over as the head coach. I also saw that video, that podcast that came out when Dennis Allen was talking, for the first time with he talked with Jay Glazer since he got fired, and just talking about the things that occurred during his tenure, and how he was saying that he confirmed that Mickey Loomis was not on board with him. We're not on board with him being fired during the season. I don't have an issue with it. You know what I'm saying? It had to be done because it just had to be done. Team had lost 7 straight games. You lost to the Carolina Panthers. You lost to the Denver Broncos when Drew Brees was getting his I won't say his number retired, but there was a night that they honored Drew Brees. Sean Payton came back to the stadium. He got blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by about 50 something points, 52 points. It had to be done, And if it was done a little earlier, maybe the Saints would have been in the playoffs. Maybe the Saints would have been the NFC South champions. But you waited too late for that. They waited too late to fire Dennis Allen. But it is what it is at this point, man. So we'll see how it all play out, man. But in regards to who I believe is going to be the head coach right now, man, I think it's going to be down to Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady, and I think Anthony Weaver may have a shot as well. Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady, Anthony Weaver, maybe Kellen Moore. Those are my top 4 that may get that job. If Aaron Glenn, if they don't get Aaron Glenn or Joe Brady, I think the default guy is going to be Darren Rizzi. They're gonna run it back with Darren Rizzi and go from there, and he'll be the new Saints head coach. In regards to that, if Darren Rizzi gets the job, I really want to see, what he's going to change. What is he going to change as the head coach, the full-time head coach of New Orleans Saints? Because, like I said before, you have to change something, man. Going forward, they have to change something. Now, regardless of who they bring in as head coach, I think they're gonna do what they try to do. What they're gonna do. They're gonna do what they did, since Sean Payton left. They're gonna try to plot. They're gonna try to win in the NFC South, even though everybody knows that they're rebuilding. They're gonna try to win the NFC South, and for the most part, I really don't blame them because NFC South. There's no juggernaut in this division, man. There's no juggernaut in the NFC South. Let's be honest. At most, it could take a team at least 9 to 10 wins to win the division. So I don't blame them for trying to position themselves to win the NFC South. So there's that. But as I previously said, I think the coach is going to be Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady. Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady. Anthony Weaver could be a sleeper. I think Clint Kingsbury may go back to being Commanders head coach, and he may be the next hot candidate in next year's cycle. So we'll see how it all play out. All right, so that's for y'all for right now, man. Give me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. What 4 areas, in your opinion, do you think the Saints' new head coach must be able to fix once he gets the job? And also check out sportsview360.com/Saints for latest content in the New Orleans Saints organization. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.